I want to hit on the umpire stuff. I mean, because where it stems from with me, it's everything that I do outside of this league. I'm talking about before I got to this league, and you're talking about when COVID's going on. Still, the books I'm going to read, the articles I'm going to look at, and the stuff that I'm going to watch. I'm always looking how to correlate some type of anecdote that's going to relate to pitching, and it's just the way my mind's wired, maybe. And so when I look at the umpire type of situation, I think about what have they been doing for the past 6 months, and how much care and personalization to get better and actually develop to become an umpire that doesn't want to be in the Frontier League, who actually wants to climb and get better. And some guys, it's like we talked about the other day, some guys want to tell you all the time, I got 8 years experience in this. And I'm like, then you think you would be better by now.
Hey Florence Nation, this is Brian White, manager of the Florence Y'alls. To my left got Chad Rhoades, pitching coordinator. To my right, Dennis Pelfrey, manager of the Florence Freedom. And at the very right, today we got Mike Morris, hitting coordinator of this whole thing. First time that we have had him on the show, so should be a good one today. Once again though, we'll let the athletes start first. Pass it off to Chad Rhoades.
Hey,
here we go.
I'm excited to get the mic though. So today's going to be a little different.
Can we do one thing real quick?
What you got?
I mean, every episode, Full Throttle has been in here. I can't really
behind the camera too.
Yeah, we're not brought to you by Full Throttle. Maybe Full Throttle could come in there, but Full Throttle.
Full Throttle.
It's running through the blood pretty heavily in those games too. Heart gets pumping right there.
I had one yesterday, to be honest.
Today will be a little different. Not necessarily going to be a breakdown per se of guys throughout the week, but of where everybody's at in this course of the season as far as things are working on down there. You know, as guys think they're at a certain spot, and we kind of talked about this and touched on this last week, should be at that point in the season where you're over the ego. I'm over trying to outstuff guys. Like I'm over trying to prove that I can do this, and I'm a 93 guy, and I'm that every single time out. It's like if you think you're going to be there, but your recovery routine and stuff doesn't match up to trying to force out this stuff every single week, you're crazy. And when that stuff's not there because they're not settled into their delivery and it's not consistent, and the stuff's not there, and so the command's not there, they get frustrated, and we see some emotion over having good energy. You hear me say it all the time: energy over emotion, and trying to get them to understand what that means. You have a choice to have good energy. You can choose that.
Well, the game is not emotional. We talk about that a lot. When you start bringing emotions into it, it brings your success down or your progression down. And, try to almost be like robots. And we talk a little bit about getting into a different character, the perception of what people talk about when they're watching you, because you are an entertainer. So when you start emotions, your personal emotions get into play, then, we talk about it a lot too, we call it where they're searching. They start searching. So the success isn't there because the emotions are brought in. Now they're searching for the answers. So they're talking to everybody in the dugout, trying to figure things out, blaming things on the umpire, blaming things on this or that. So this is the key moment in like a regular season, and it's typically about the halfway point of the season where it starts happening to guys because they're not having that success like they've been having or they've had in the past. And it's like now we've got to guide them into becoming that character.
And what it is, it stems from the routines, in your daily routines, and this is where it's kind of coming to a head. Is if you've had a good throwing program routine since the beginning, which I've really been preaching, and learning how to throw correctly and knowing kind of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, it's going to create good habits for you that you can translate on the mound. And if you don't have that good throwing routine, if we talked about it last night, if you don't have a good batting practice or a hitting routine, how can you expect good results in the game? And if you go out there just hacking off a tee, if I'm getting there and I throw as far as I can and as hard as I can every single day, that's a bad throwing routine, and you can't expect good results from that. And so all routines, whether good or bad, are starting to kind of come to a head at this point in the season because we're over the ego. It's over. I've thrown some of my best pitches during this course of this season, and they've got hit hard now. And I think it has turned it a little bit more emotional because we got some different hitters. And so I think some of the at-bats have become a little bit more personal rather than, it's not personal. This is business. This is your job. And it's not personal. I'm pitching to a swing, not a person. If I pitch to the person, I make it emotional. And then I don't focus on my execution to pitch to that certain type of swing. I fall behind the counts, and then I have to get back over the middle, and I got whacked. And we saw it, and I want to talk about that a little bit later on. But I kind of want to get you guys' take as far as, not just on the pitching side, but overall energy, compared to how we've seen some emotions get tempered this week on both sides, on both clubs, in every kind of game. It was kind of I would say a tumultuous week. It was entertaining. It was fun. It was fun, and it brought out some fire in some guys, but it also kind of burned up some others, and you saw that in performance. But what's your guys' take on that?
As far as that, the energy for us, I think you were with us, or no, I don't think you were with us actually. Whenever we had the Genesi moment, where
I was here.
You were here, so we were a little dead in the dugout at first. It was kind of quiet. It was one of those days where it just didn't have the energy going, and then all of a sudden,
he's shoving,
he's shoving,
and
just
quiet,
cruising.
Yep.
If he just stays quiet, he probably comes out of that game pretty successful. But then he has that big moment where he has second and third, 2 outs, and he punches out Watley on a strike 3 looking. Then, causes a big scene on the field for everybody to focus on him, yelling out.
Kind of ignited that fire, right?
Right, and it lit everybody in our dugout up. Then I think we ended up putting a 6 spot up the next inning. Very next inning, they sent him back out. I'm like, oh, they shouldn't have sent him back out. Like, I know Skyler, that's how he is, But after something that big like that, it's like, okay, it's a good time to get him out, get a new guy in. And then they sent him back out. We put a 3 on there, and then obviously words started getting exchanged a little bit between, I believe it was Mitch and Skyler after he hit that last single.
Nice 2 RBI single, right?
It was,
to give you the lead.
Yeah, or I think, did we get the lead, or did we tie it up right there?
Took the lead right there.
Took the lead 3-2, I want to say, and then we ended up putting up 3 more.
Put that big one up
right.
on Dubsky.
But the whole point of that is we were dead pretty much in the dugout the whole time. It was quiet, and Skyler was shoving, and then all of a sudden, just wakes everybody up, and the whole dugout, the whole stadium, the fans started getting balls, chanting "Let's go Y'alls" from both sides of the field. It was awesome.
It was nice.
Probably the most electric I've heard it, honestly.
Yeah,
it was exciting, but I mean, just as far as the energy goes, whenever we're talking about that was the main thing that stood out to me. Whenever the team's quiet, keep them quiet. Don't give them a reason to get back into this game, and that's exactly what they did to us.
Yeah.
They got us right back into that game, and it started a little back and forth melody, and carried over with our series. I think carried over to y'all's series after that.
Yeah, there's a couple stories that I can play off of that, but I first want to dive back into that routine thing that Chad was talking about from a pitching standpoint, the throwing routine. He did mention the batting practice routine, and this is where Mike comes into play for me. Last year with the Freedom, the routine, we've touched on a little bit, I think, in this show where, last year at one point we were the worst team in the league turning double plays, and I kept getting on him about it, getting on our players about it, and he finally made the decision, well, this is going to be our routine now. So before BP, every other day or every third day, we're turning double plays. And he has a little mix of fundamentals and then finishes it up with some artistry is what he calls it, and it's great, and letting the guys kind of free it up, glove flips, bare hands, some of those things, have some fun with it. And it's carried over into this year a little bit too, but by the end of the year last year, we led the league in turning double plays, which put us in the championship. We're a big believer in that. Like, if you turn the most double plays, you're going to be right there at the end. So, and then the BP routine this year, we've kind of added, or he's added, 2 single swing rounds at the end, and I think has completely evolved our batting practice routine. So having those, those 2 rounds of 1 at the end of whatever we do, whether it's 6-5-4, 1-1, or 5-5-5, 1-1, or whatever it is, but finishing with those 2 kind of locked in swings. So talk a little bit about that and how you came up with it and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, so like when it comes down to like the hitter plans, like I just want BP to be more of a game like focus. Like, been able to throw around a lot of good guys that played at a high level. One thing that I've noticed is they have a plan and approach inside their BP. They will never swing outside that zone, and it's okay to do it maybe in the first couple rounds. I know we got a few guys like that, Massey, I think he likes to feel his 2 strikes in that first round. And I kind of let him be free inside the first round. We got a whole kind of, MLB The Show zone kind of plan that we kind of try to work every now and then. But But really, like, what it is just locking in, hunting the pitch. Like, I just tell us, piss us off. I'm sorry I said that, but make us mad in BP. Make us throw you pitches. Like, we should be up there frustrated, because if you're getting us frustrated, you're going to get the other team frustrated. And, with the rounds of one, what it really does is it just, like Pelf was saying, it's just going to lock you into what you're doing. You get one swing, so if you're in those rounds of 5 or rounds of 6, you'll take those swings for granted a little bit. Like, we want to be able to get off a good swing with, putting a little game-like pressure in it, trying to simulate everything, hunt your plan, hunt your approach, get that good pitch to hit and drive.
Yeah.
And it's really where it is, because these guys, man, they're so good at what they do. They've been doing it for a long time. We've been swinging since we were 3 years old, 2 years old, 1 year old. So just understanding that these guys can hit, now just formulating the plan and just going to work. And it all starts inside the BP, like Chad was talking about, and we were talking a little bit earlier about the routine. But the pitchers, their BP is their warm-ups. It's the same thing for us. Like, our BP, we have to be working on something, doing things, being set to a routine, because stunting is a habit, and I've been talking to a lot of guys about that. If you're going to do something here, if you're doing something in BP, it's going to extend to the game. So if you're being disciplined and you're hunting the right pitches in BP, you're going to hunt the right pitches in the game. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So it's just simple things and simple math. The more you do something, the more you get out of something.
I think you said something yesterday in the office that was pretty cool about talking about your college soccer team, the girls' soccer team. Not that you dated one of the soccer players. That wasn't what was interesting. But what was interesting was they worked out at 5 a.m. every morning. And they loved it because they got their day over with. They could sleep after class and those things. But then when the season came around, they're so used to being sleepy and tired during their game time, they were not very good when they played the games because they were so used to working out and doing the things. So that routine is important. It really is, and how we approach things. So, and that's where I think the Freedom get a bad rap from the rest of the league, because we take BP every single day. We're not the teams that come in on Sundays and don't take BP because it's Sunday.
But early work and
early
reps
work,
and stuff on the field.
Yeah, so it's you have the structure, you have the routine, and it puts guys in a good place to be successful. And that's kind of what, at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want the guys to be most successful. So, kind of to dive back into the emotional thing, we had a couple stories for the Freedom. One's a really good one. And we talk about the art of war and things like that all the time, but they had a hitter on their team using an illegal bat. We knew it from day one. I think somebody mentioned it, and we've been watching, but nothing had ever happened. And in the game, I think the second game of the series, the kid hits a home run, and they're excited. I think it put him within a run or maybe 2 runs of the game. But as he crossed the plate, I had the umpire check the bat, and it caused a huge uproar in their dugout. And the fans too. I think some of the kids' parents were in the stands or something. So it caused a lot of commotion, from their dugout because they're upset. They're checking the bat and they're yelling out things like, "Oh, you're mad we're hitting home runs, this and that," and had nothing really to do with that, other than one, I didn't want to take a mound visit and talk to a kid after he just gave up a home run, because that's that kind of puts some emotional stress on him as well. So I wanted to give him a little bit of a breather and caused some commotion in that dugout. And the umpires came to the conclusion that they weren't going to call the kid out because they didn't know if it was illegal or, what this league really is, type of thing. So, and then they said, we're going to confiscate it. And I said, well, what are you going to do with the bat? Like, just give it back to the kid. I said, I don't care, So, because there's no league official or anything like that. So, but it got what I wanted out of it. Basically got them all fired up, mad at me, mad at what I'm trying to do instead of focusing on the game. We ended up winning the game. Not saying we won the game because of that, but that was one of those things we talk about. And then the day before, this is one that really kind of gets a lot of teams. And it goes back to the thing we talked about last week where we just worry about what we're doing and don't worry about the other team, and that's what they should do to us as well. But rain, it was rainy. You guys were canceled that night because Lexington's a dirt field. But rainy out, first 4 innings I think was okay. Then the 5th started raining. They're winning the game, and then the rain's coming a little bit harder. Obviously, those guys haven't played here. They know that, any team that I'm playing, we're going to wait all night to play if we have to. We can play through a lot of things. The injury thing is not a factor because our field holds water very well.
Got arms. Nobody's slipping on the mound, things like that. And it's firework night.
So, in the plate meeting, I told their manager that if it starts raining and the pitchers want to wear metal spikes, they can. So whether that message was relayed or not, I don't know. But, they start yelling out once we hit a home run, or it was 2-1, or whatever. We hit a home run in the rain. Then it was like, guys are going to get hurt. They try to stop the game. The umpires are like, what are we going to do? I said, I want to play, blah, 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 things like that. So a lot of things were going on, a lot of emotions. Our guys in our dugout, which I love, they want to play. They're very, very, very consistent in their feelings and their emotions. They take care of their own things, and that's it. They don't worry about anybody else. We feel like we know we're going to win every single game, so it doesn't matter if we're down 10 runs, down 2 runs, up 10. We're going to win every game. That's kind of the mentality. So, but one of their hitters swung and let go of the bat, came over to our dugout, and asked us if we could give him pine tar. And in the middle of the game, it's like, no, babe, I'm not going to give you any advantage. Like,
Trying to beat you.
all I said to the kid was, no, we put our bag up. I don't know where it's at, man. I got other things to worry about. And then Mike said it sounds like a personal problem. Now, I'm going to be honest. If I would have thought of that, I probably would have said it. Because it is. It's not our problem that they don't have pine tar. It has nothing to do with us, right? Maybe, the kid took it the wrong way or whatever, but it was a true statement. Like, it's not our problem that you don't have pine tar. Now, if they would have asked us before the game, we would have given them pine tar. But they play for a affiliated minor league organization. They should have pine tar, right? And they should have bat weights and things like that. So, but whatever. So the point being, after he gets out, goes to the dugout and makes a big scene about it in the dugout, and then one of their players yells out over to our dugout and calls out Mike by his name. And it kind of makes Mike mad. It would make me upset too if a player's yelling across the field at you, saying your name, things like that. So it just caused a problem there, and it was maybe the 6th inning, I don't know, 5th inning. But anyway, that being said, same type of thing that you're talking about with the pitcher on their team that just, started talking a lot and being loud or whatever, ended up losing control of the game. They lost control of the game. We ended up scoring 5 runs total, winning 5-2, and they ended up quitting when the umpires took this off the field instead of waiting around. They were already undressed instead of wanting to wait to finish the game. So obviously, emotions came into play. They're upset, not wanting to play, and that's kind of what turned into, at the end of the game, we had a little bit of a argument on the field after the game was already over. And but it had, Mike was upset. The kid's calling him out. Players shouldn't talk to coaches. Coaches shouldn't talk to players. And if that happens, that's when you have problems.
All right.
So.
No, I agree 100% with that. And that's the thing that I kind of noticed with this whole league. I knew it was going to get chippy towards the end with only being 4 teams playing each other over and over. It was a matter of time. But
when one city's eliminated already, then.
Right, and if you're losing, it makes it that much more frustrating. But at the end of the day, our team never really talks to their players unless they're doing something first. Probably the same for your team as well. Like, we're to ourselves, we're in our dugout, we're talking to our own guys.
I don't think our team says anything, even if they say something.
Right, and people are so worried about what we're doing. And, we're just playing our game. We're going to pitch, we're going to play defense, we're going to compete, we're going to hit, we're going to do all those things to ourselves. We're going to stay within ourselves, and we're going to support each other, make sure that we're playing hard every day. And if they're worried about us, and they got issues on their hands, whoever it is.
You've got the upper hand if that happens. It's frustrating from our side, like when other teams are coming at us, or coming at the umpire. Like our team, we're a little bit older than your guys. Our guys don't even really yell at the umpires. They've been really bad. And that's another topic we're going to get onto today. They've been really bad. The umpires have been really bad. And, our guys will say something here and there, but, Chad Sedio strikes out on a ball that's a foot out and just walks off with a smile. It's just
what can you do?
There's nothing we can do about it, and our guys understand that. And your guys, I think, are virtually the same way. But in big moments, obviously, some of the emotions take over. So that's where we do, I think, a really good job of containing that for the guys and, let us talk to the umpires. I think Mike does a really good job of getting the player taken care of, but he's on the umpire. So it's really good, not to an extent where, he's getting thrown out of games with the exception of once. But it was kind of needed at the time, and sometimes you need to get thrown out of games. So, those things all kind of add up. But you're exactly right. When other teams are constantly coming at us because of what we're doing, it's like we're not changing what we're doing. Right. We're winning. We are winning, and we're doing a very good job. So why would we change that?
Right.
So it is frustrating at times.
I want to hit on the umpire stuff. I mean, because where it stems from with me, it's everything that I do outside of this league, I'm talking about before I got to this league, and you're talking about when COVID's going on, still the books I'm going to read, the articles I'm going to look at, and the stuff that I'm going to watch, I'm always looking how to correlate some type of anecdote that's going to relate to pitching. And it's just the way my mind's wired, maybe. And so when I look at the umpire type of situation, I think about what have they been doing for the past 6 months, and how much care and personalization to get better and actually develop to become an umpire that doesn't want to be in the Frontier League, who actually wants to climb and get better. And some guys, it's like we talked about the other day, some guys want to tell you all the time, I got 8 years experience in this. I'm like, then you think you would be better by now. It's just kind of like, did they really come in like these players, go into the field, hey, I'm going to get locked in today, I'm going to get better. And I can't say, man, the zones float. The zones float, they get stretched. I've seen it white line to white line. And I've seen some pitches get called, and at times in the game when it's skewed a little bit. And I'm not saying they're for or against any team. No. But it's a job. You have a job to do. It's not personal. Your job is unbiased. There's going into that job, when you choose that job, that somebody ever seen on close pitch is not going to like it.
Exactly.
Don't take it personal. Do your job. Focus on your zone. Okay, obviously, if there's somebody arguing with you, then there's something you need to clean up. And at the percentage of guys that have been thrown out, players and managers, in the course of the amount of games played this season, it's astronomical. As far as how many games in we are, how many guys have been thrown out, it's stupid.
It's ridiculous. And the problem is, there's been calls that I've never seen. There's a home run that hits a foul pole. It's called foul. There's a ball that hits first base.
It's called foul.
It's called foul.
Yeah.
And that went for you guys.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he hits a 2-run double to take the lead or tie the game. I can't remember. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Their manager gets thrown out, rightfully so.
Right.
But it's like, where is the dedication to your craft? You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying they're all bad.
No, they're not all bad, and they're for the most part, they're all great guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're just messing up in big ways. And I think, talking about that, I think, Mike, we've been talking about it a lot over the last probably 2 years about, all year last year we talk about the mechanics of the umpires and kind of where we could see them, how they could get better, because nothing changes. For the most part, all the bad calls come from being in bad positions for the most part. So, we can talk a little bit about that, Mike, and kind of what you see as far as that goes.
Yeah, like when it comes down to it, like Pelf was saying, it comes down to the mechanics. Just like, a pitcher or a hitter or anything like that, we don't want to think about the mechanics, but there's things that they're going to do that can affect things, like eye movement, if they're sliding more to one side than the other. A lot, like I've talked about it a lot, it comes from not having that big old black pad, the old school.
We talk about that every day. Like, man, I'd have that shield.
Yeah.
That's my character.
My character, 100%. And because that thing is a protection. Like, they got the cool gear now that, obviously I understand you're not holding this thing up all day, but, you don't feel as protected. And you want to get behind the catcher and you kind of see them, they get a little sketch. I think happened, I don't know if it was Thursday or maybe it was Dave caught one, boom, foul ball right back and knocked him off his blocks. And, it hit him hard. Yeah. Like, it hit him
but
good.
If he's upright with his shield, it ain't doing it.
It ain't going to do it, So, that played against sports. They have to have something. But when it comes down to it, it's the mechanics. I think you got to stay straight on that home plate, right in the middle. Where they're moving around way too much or they're moving with the hitter to try to gain the leverage on one side or the other, but then you have a blind spot. The best thing you can do, to me, especially like we would umpire the sim games last year. And
he would get behind the plate and do it.
Yeah, and we made an adjustment off me because I would get low when I started and I was missing a lot of calls. Because it is hard, especially with these guys. These guys, they're firm. They got nasty stuff, and it's understandable. You're going to miss calls. It's the human element, and that's what I love. But we got to be able to lock it in, and the way we can do that is by being up a little bit more. Like yesterday, I think our home plate umpire, his head was moving. He was like in a position up, then down, and
as
now
the pitch is coming,
as the pitch
up
is
and down,
coming.
And he was on one side. Like how his mechanics were, and this is for most of the guys in the league, is they get on the inside part of the plate. So if it's a left-handed hitter, they'll get on the right side of the plate. So they'll set up between the catcher and the hitter and low. You're never going to be able to see the outside pitch. And
That
then
wasn't teach. We talked about they don't see an outside pitch. We had a crew chief come in when in an organizational meeting. We had a pitching clinic. It was last year with the Marlins and a little pitching conference we had. And a crew chief came in and he wanted to ask me any questions you want. And the first question all the pitch coaches want to know is, tell me about the outer half. The best way he could explain the outer half was comparing it to parallel parking. Some guys are better at getting close to the curb.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you can't see it, but some guys have a better feel for where it's at. And I don't know how they teach the setup. I know the angle stuff, but I know that if I got that little bit of angle, it makes the curve a little further away, and I've got to guess a little bit more.
Sure.
And once I start guessing and I guess wrong, I got to roll with it. Or I try and change the game, and the zone floats back, and it's like, come on, baby, just stick with something, find something, get a little feel. I know you can't see it. Don't sit there and act like you know where it's on.
Right.
It's not.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, you're talking about the parallel parking thing. You know, to me, with the way they're doing it, it looks like they're trying to parallel park without rear view mirrors. You know what I mean? Like, so
The backup cameras
it's a complete
nowadays.
guess, and that shouldn't be how it is. And we're not bashing umpires or anything, but I think there's a way to evolve. Just like the game is evolving, we talked about last week about the runs scored and the things like that. And guys, you know, I don't think the Lexington team have laid down one bunt.
Nope.
I don't think there's been one drag attempt. There's been one sacrifice bunt. Now the Florence Freedom, we're not sacrifice bunt either, but we've had a couple instances where guys have tried on their own.
It lines up right.
If it lines up right, but we're trying to drag for hits. I mean, Setio, arguably our best hitter, you guys shifted him and he tried to bunt. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think last night in the game we got to watch the Y'alls game, and you know, Hare was finally playing in on for some of the bunts, so he's taking some of that away for you guys,
Right.
which is good. It's good for guys to take pride in defense and understand, like, instead of just saying, "Oh, go ahead and bunt," you know, or whatever, but getting in there and making plays and just playing the game. So the game's evolving, obviously. Why can't the umpires evolve as well? Now, I have no idea what they're taught, how they're taught. I just know I think I see a better way to do it. And I'm like Mike, like I say, you should be almost standing straight up behind the center of the plate with the big shield, which is not heavy. So if you have to run to third base, it's not heavy. It's just as heavy as your gear you're wearing.
Pillow.
You'd be cooler. I think it would be better, but you're definitely going to see in and out very easy. Up and down may be a little bit difficult because, like we say, we're not going to be able to see everything. But in and out, I think, are the worst ones. If you're missing, 3 balls off the plate on the other batter's box line, it's virtually unhittable.
That's unexcusable to me. You know, like, you're right there. How do you miss so far?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
Like,
you know?
that's what we're saying. Like the angles
Right.
they're creating, instead of being upright center of the plate, because if I stand up straight, because we did it. We did the experiment with Mike, and he missed a couple calls. He's down. We talked, like, right then and there. I think we both thought of it at the same time. Like, hey, just stand up. Just stay up tall. He didn't have the shield. He just had catcher's gear on, but he did it. Hands behind the back, and he's like, I'm gonna wear it. But I don't think he ever got hit.
No.
Didn't get hit once. So the chance of you getting blown up right there is 0. I mean, not close to 0. But if you have the shield, I mean, baby, it's nice.
Yeah.
So I think if you're able to call in and out virtually every time consistently on the plate or off the plate, the up and down can be a little skewed because guys can still hit those pitches.
Right.
You've seen guys in the big leagues hit pitches at their neck out of the yard. You've seen them hit pitches at their ankles out of the yard. So I would rather umpires miss up and down than in and out.
All right, and everybody here knows that we all play the game, so it's such a hopeless feeling going up to the plate, or as a pitcher going up to the rubber, and you make a great pitch or you take a great take that's 3 inches off, and you know it's a ball, and all of a sudden you get rang up on, and the very next pitch is a strike. The next one right down the middle is a ball. You're like, I don't even know what a ball and a strike is today.
What's even worse than that, we talk about it all the time, we talk about the emotional thing. Maybe I know who the umpires are 2 hours before the game, and that immediately
Yeah.
You already know what
you're
type
trying
of
to
game
like,
it's gonna be.
this is how it's going to be, and I hate being like that because we don't want the players to be like that. But if I'm like that, you
can
guys are
only
going to be like that.
imagine. Yeah.
I can imagine what the players are thinking. You know what I mean? So
Here we go today.
And it should never be like that. It should never be like that. Umpires definitely have their own personality. Should have their own character on the field and those things. And you should know, hey, this is going to be this type of zone, or this is going to be this type of zone. But it should all be pretty consistent and not missing those in and out pitches, baby. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. So, that's what I got. You got anything more on that?
I mean, that pretty much hits it all right
All
there.
of it? Every single?
Not all of it. There's a lot in there, but when it comes down to it, it's a focus factor, and like we said, pretty much from the start, it's just about what we do, what we go about. Like, you know, as an umpire, watching dudes. You know what I'm saying? We got games all the time that's on. You know, are you watching? Are you studying how other dudes do it? You know, do you have an idol on that side?
We expect our players to do that.
100%.
We say it all the time. Watch Major League Baseball game. We talk about the 1-0 take stuff. Watch a Major League Baseball game and watch the 1-0 take, and I'll prove it to you. You know,
Yeah.
You know, we talk about those things. We say, don't watch the game. Watch the guy playing your position. What is he doing on this ball hit to right field near the shortstop? What is he doing? You know, yesterday, phenomenal play by DeJesus. Heads up play. Brandon Phillips is out of the dugout talking about, you can't teach that, and you're right. You can't teach it, but if you see it and you focus on it, you can do it. What it was we had first and second. We're down in the game. This is a big inning. And Logan Wyatt is on second base, coming to third on a ball. E.P. Reese hits to right. I think it was E.P. Reese. Left-handed, sorry.
Right under the first base.
Right past the first baseman, but DeJesus dives for it. Me, from the third base angle, third base coaching, I can't see if he catches it or he gets by him because his body's in the way. So I'm not saying hold up on the bag. He catches it.
No look.
No look, immediately comes up, throws to third base. Logan Wyatt's rounding third. We're waiting to see what happens. And by the time we realize the ball's coming, Logan can't get back. Now, I do think he was safe
Really nice play.
because of the way the tag was, but I did not argue it because it was big time. Like, it was awesome to see. So, and I hope our players saw it, and I hope they see those things. Go back to the artistry.
Yep.
The artistry of the game is things like that that happen. And, you know, it happened bad. It was for us, and in a big spot, ended the inning. Would have been bases loaded. Not sure it was coming up what the situation was, but it ended the threat for them immediately. And man, it was big time. So some of the things that happen bad to your team are really good things that you can learn from. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.